What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I am excited to bring to you my review and kind of discussion and description and everything about the live action One Piece that finally came out last week. Directed by Mark Jost, Emma Sullivan, Tim Sotham, and Yosef Kubota Uledika. This series was very interesting to watch, and we'll get more in depth with it. Yes, this will have spoilers involved because I can't talk about One Piece and the live action in comparison to the anime without getting in depth and talking about various things that happened in the anime and in the live action. So as far as the main cast goes, you have Iñaki Godoy, which is Luffy, Emily Rudd, who plays Nami, Makenyu, who plays Zoro, which Zoro is my favorite character in the One Piece universe by far, without question. Yes, Luffy is one of the best anime characters overall, in my opinion, and I think it was rated in like the anime world and by people obviously who are fans of anime and people who love anime characters. Luffy is like the top anime character right now. As much as I love Luffy, Zoro is by far my favorite One Piece character, and we will dive more into why I have a kind of hate relationship with Makenyu, the actor himself. He has the look of Zoro, but again, we will get more into it. Jacob Romero plays Usopp, and Taz Skylar plays Sanji. With the introduction of the One Piece live action anime rendition, we are diving into these 8 episodes knowing that it is the beginnings of the Straw Hat Pirates, and before they enter into the Grand Line, Luffy getting the hat from Shanks when he was younger. We have Barati with Luffy meeting Sanji, Luffy meeting Zoro for the first time, getting involved with Kobe and Helmeppo, and then we have Arlong Park.
Luffy.
Vincent Reagan played Luffy's grandfather, Garp, and I will say that they introduced the fact that he was Luffy's grandfather entirely too early, and way earlier than I thought they would have introduced it. I understand that they need to, get through a lot of things, and things need to be fleshed out because there's people who have actually never watched One Piece before a day in their life because it's 1,000+ episodes, and I get it. It's a lot of episodes, but if you just dive into the anime, it's about 19 to 21 minutes each episode. You just have a couple off days, or even on your days that you work and you just want to watch it and you knock out a couple of episodes, you realize once you get involved and you get interested in it and you dive more into the lore, you will just watch and watch and watch, and it wouldn't even seem like 1,000 episodes because guess what? You will want to keep watching. You'll be so happy that there's so many episodes because you'll be like, oh, well, this is endless. Like, I can watch all of this and I cannot wait to get to the next episode. I can't wait to get to the next arc. Peter Gadio plays Shanks, and he, at first, I was not feeling how he was portraying Shanks, but then as we got later on in the season, just like everyone else for the most part, I actually found myself getting a little bit more gripped because I got connected with the characters. Yes, I will say, everybody in the main cast, it just seemed like they were more acting than they actually embodied the characters. Maybe that was mainly because I'm so used to seeing the anime in straight up Japanese. I have not watched it in English, not one time. I've heard various clips of the anime in English, and then once I heard him go, Gum Pistol, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry. That compared to Gomu Gomu no, like that's like, yeah, you hear that and you're like, yes, let's go, Luffy. You hear that and you get so hyped. There's people, and I have to take into account, and a lot of other people have to take into account, that there's people who are like me, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, who love it in English and refuse to watch it in Japanese because they either don't want to read or they don't like hearing it in a different language. And hey, I honestly cannot hate that. I disagree heavily because I feel like in the original language it is by far superior. It just grips you a lot more because when certain things are said in Japanese, it's just like, oh, so da na. You hear that and then like you get chills. Like, I don't know, it's just hearing the anime in Japanese and watching it nonstop in Japanese kind of definitely set a precedent for me. So going into the live action and hearing just straight up English and then seeing these actors not necessarily portray the characters the way how I would have liked to see them at first, yeah, I was very taken out of it at first.
and I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
However, as I said already, I kind of got hooked a little bit closer to the end, and I will say that it took the scene in Coco Village with Nami stabbing her arm with the Arlong Pirates tattoo and crying and saying, "Luffy, help me," and then Luffy putting the straw hat on top of her head. That's the moment that I was like, okay, all right, I'm here. I'm here for it. Let's go. Even though I'm still kind of taken out of it, I'm here for it because there was just something about that scene that just mirrored the anime almost flawlessly, and it just made me really emotional, I have to say, because at first I really didn't feel anything. I was sitting there watching it and I'm like, I'm watching Luffy fight Arlong at Barati and I'm like, this didn't even happen. Like, what do you mean? Like, what's happening here? There's so many things that didn't happen the way it did in the anime, and it happened live. I get it. You know, not everything is going to be absolutely picture perfect-esque for a live action rendition of an anime. You just genuinely can't do it. But I will say they kept true to a lot of things story-wise, but at the same time, they rushed through a lot of things. Stephen John Ward was the live action Mihawk, and I will say of all of the characters, of all of them, aside from maybe Nami and maybe Sanji, I will say, Ted Skyler, yeah, I would say Sanji was really well done too. Mihawk was damn near flawless, man. Like, damn near flawless as a rendition, as a live action rendition of the anime Mihawk. Very, very flawless. It's just there was a fight that happened in the beginning arc, you know, at Barati, and it didn't happen in the live action. Again, there's various things that are really good about this live action rendition. Like, it looks really good. The production value is amazing. Eiichiro Oda, I love you, man. Thank you for creating One Piece, and the fact that you got involved with this and stood behind it, that's what gave me a little bit more hope for it and a little bit more positivity. I still had my doubts because I've been scarred, with the Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac, with Mackenyu, who's in it, and it's trash. And there's The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan, and then Dragon Ball Evolution. Now, I will say this, it is not even close to the bad level of Dragon Ball Evolution. Knights of the Zodiac, way better than that. The Last Airbender, I mean, to be honest, it's kind of on par, but I like it better than The Last Airbender. Definitely like it better than The Last Airbender. I mean, way, way better than The Last Airbender. Like, I'd rewatch this several times before I rewatched The Last Airbender even once. Morgan Davies and Aiden Scott, they played Kobe and Helmeppo, and I'm kind of surprised that we didn't hear Helmeppo's name, or they didn't acknowledge that it was Helmeppo. I mean, obviously, if you've watched the anime, you know exactly who it is. Like, you know exactly who he is. But it's just the fact that, like, obviously they said everybody's names, and they've gotten involved with other storylines. Like, I thought that they would have mentioned that was Helmeppo. Come close to the end, Kobe grew on me, even though I'm still not a fan of the way how they're portraying Kobe. He definitely grew on me closer to the end. Same thing with Helmeppo. All the characters, really, because as I said, I was not feeling anything. I was contemplating just being like, you know what, whatever, let me just write this up as a loss. I've already started watching it, so I'm just going to finish it. Let me see at least how they end it. And I'm not going to lie, that the last little bit at Arlong Park, that really gripped me. Like, there was a moment between Sanji and Zoro when they were fighting that was almost just like the anime, where they did their separate moves and came on a rock together, and they looked at each other, said a quick thing, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Zoro and Sanji. The thing that takes me out of this, and from completely liking it, because I mean I like it to an extent because of the fact solely that it's One Piece. It's my favorite anime. Yes, even more so than The Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Z, even Demon Slayer, everything. Yes, One Piece is my #1 anime. Going into this, again, I was just not really about it, not about the live action rendition. Seeing these characters in live action did get me a little excited, because like certain things would happen on the screen, and then I found myself chuckling a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm starting to like this now. One of the characters, Jeff Ward, who played Buggy, I wasn't really feeling Buggy at all. Even at the end, I wasn't feeling him. I've seen online that a lot of people love Buggy. A lot of people love the characters. A lot of people are just hell-bent and saying that this is great. The audience score is like 96%, so it's like, wow, people must be really loving this, and they are. And I'm glad, I'm glad that One Piece is getting this kind of recognition, because people really crapped on One Piece saying, oh, it's over 1,000 episodes. Oh, I'm not gonna watch that. That's too much, and it's not good. Let's take a step back here, folks. If something, just like The Big Bang Theory with 12 seasons, if something has this many episodes and has been going on for this long and has so much merch and is still progressing with things, you cannot sit here and say that it's not good. You can say you don't like it. I will respect you more if you say that you don't like it. You cannot sit here and say it's not good, because if something wasn't really that good, it wouldn't have as many seasons or as many episodes or have such a following as it did. A lot of people try to tell me the same thing about The Big Bang Theory. Oh, it's not good. Listen, stop saying it's not good. Just say you don't like it. It's okay. Like, it's fine. There's things that I don't like. Like The Walking Dead, I didn't like. But hello, look how many seasons it had. Look how many episodes. Look at the following. Obviously, it's good. It's just I'm not a big fan of it. Same thing with The Big Bang Theory. I'm a huge fan of The Big Bang Theory. Does it have its issues? Absolutely. Still love it. Obviously, it did something right because it had a hell of a lot of seasons. Same thing with One Piece. And it's the reason why I think that this live action is doing better than a lot of people thought. My roommates and I, we said that I don't think that this is going to do well, and look at it. No, it's not going exactly panel for panel and shot for shot of the anime. But again, you can't dive into things just so gung-ho and dead set on like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna like it. Even if it looks good, whatever, I'm not gonna like it. No, absolutely not. This definitely surprised me by the end. The story and the way how the emotions from the characters were conveyed. I know how the story goes in the anime, and just parroting it back to the anime, it made me fall in love even more with some of the characters in this live action One Piece rendition. Now, let's start talking about Arlong, who was played by Michael Belcher III. And I will say he did a pretty decent job as Arlong. I just wish that he was a little bit bigger, because like the sword next to Arlong looked like too big, when Arlong is like a massive, like a tower, and the sword is like this next to him, like, it's kind of small. That's just little quirky things, whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, some serious, Nami. Have a drink. Relax.
But I did like Michael Bentley's portrayal of Arlong, and again, the way how the story went in the live action. Over time, I grew to love it. In the anime, these things were definitely separate. So seeing a lot of things combined and fleshed into one and just rushed through, that's what kind of took me out for a long time. And that's why I didn't really get truly involved until the end of episode 6, maybe the beginning of episode 7. It was just so rushed to me, and the characters again felt like they were acting. Like the only one, and from the beginning, from the start, the only one that I truly felt was Nami.
Arlong! 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 Leave. You don't know anything about what's going on here.
Emily Rudd portrayed Nami to a T. I felt her emotion, her anguish, her anger, her annoyance, everything I felt, it was Nami. Her look, Nami. Everything about her was Nami. And Iñaki Godoy, man, like I do like the kid. That's the thing, is I do like the kid, because in my eyes, he's not necessarily Luffy to me just yet, but the way how he is portraying Luffy is a different portrayal of Luffy. In the anime, things happen and Luffy's like, huh? どこだ?
絶望的な違いは何だよ。
兄貴、ふざけてるんだろうか。いや、きっと本心だ。
水かき!
He's just so giddy. Even if something happens to somebody, he's just like, they'll be fine, it's okay. Like Luffy, he's literally dying. Nah, he's not. He's just sleeping. Hey, wake up, buddy.
よし。ウソップのアホー！いや、なんで腹のてっぺんだろ。ウソップのアホー！いや、ウソップが貝にバカにされて。
Like that's how he is in the anime. So to see him so somber and just like contemplative almost all the time, it was just different. It was a little unsettling, to be honest, and I know that sounds very dramatic, but it was just a little bit unsettling sometimes to just see him so somber and so serious, because that's not how Luffy is. Luffy is not that serious, because then when he gets serious, when he gets real, when he gets upset, it hits even harder because he's just completely silent, stone-faced, straight-faced. His eyes don't move. He just looks dead ahead, and he has these lines on his, obviously it's animated so they can edit it a little more and a little better, but he has these lines on his above his eyes that it just, you know for a fact, okay, my man Luffy is pissed, and everybody that gets in his way is getting taken down. Even if Luffy is getting his ass beat, he is taking somebody down because of the way how his switch flipped. Sorry. And no, I do have hopes for this though, because by the end, as I said, he's still not truly Luffy to me yet, but I will say I am excited to see what he can do in season 2 as Luffy. Maybe that's the direction they wanted to go for the live action. It was make it a little bit more of a serious Luffy at times, but I think in order to capture the true essence of the anime version of Luffy, you gotta have more giddiness from Luffy. You have to have more carefree attitude from Luffy, because that's what makes Luffy him. That's why he gets a following. That's why he gets his fleet later on. That's why everywhere he goes, even if he has enemies, they end up respecting him so much because of the fact of how he is. Like, he is just so carefree, and he can be getting his ass beat, and he's like, oh, this is fun. Just like Goku is like, huh, now things are heating up. It's getting fun. That's why Goku and Luffy are two of the most iconic anime protagonists, because of the way how they are. They're so giddy, so goofy, so carefree, nonchalant, and they want to fight strong people so that they can get stronger, and they can also see how stronger people are in the world. To see him very somber as he was, it was weird. It was just weird. But as I said before, the production value of this live action was amazing. Absolutely phenomenal. It looked so good and so crisp, and I just got a new 55-inch 4K TV, so I'm loving life whenever I watch or play things. I watched it on my TV in my room in the dark with my Govee lights, and just seeing the production value with that crisp quality, yeah, bro, yeah, of course people are gonna love this, because it looks so good that you can't help but get gripped by just the you can't help but get gripped by the cinematic value that they added to the live action. Like, it looks good, a lot of great practical effects. The quality of production that they did here was just amazing. So that is what kept me going throughout the episodes, even though I wasn't gripped necessarily by how the actors were portraying things. But I kept watching, and we kept watching, because we absolutely love One Piece. Like, we love One Piece. Like, One Piece is life. That's not just a random statement. That is a thing. One Piece is life. So to see these things come to life in live action, it was amazing to see some of these stories, like the story between Chef Zeph and Sanji.
What happened? You ate it. You ate your own leg? You gave me all the food. Why?
Zeph was played by Craig Fairbanks, and that story, how it went, there's some things that happened in the live action that we were like, well, how did that, okay, whatever. We kept nitpicking, and then I just felt bad, because I'm like, you know what, I can't be a true lover of something if I can't just genuinely try to appreciate certain elements about what they're trying to do here. And the story between Zeph and Sanji in the anime, oh my gosh, like, you think you're not gonna cry in an animated show, and then you watch One Piece, and then you realize you're crying in almost every arc. It's crazy, and that's why I said, like, it's just hard to take out those elements from the animated show, because that's what made me get involved with One Piece. That's what made me fall in love with One Piece, was the connection, the energy, and the emotions between the crew and going on with the crew. Even though Zoro is a hard ass and he's a tough guy, he has emotions too, and he shows them when he gets really, really heavily involved with something. And that's what leads me to this, talking about Makenyu, who is Zoro.
My captain. From now until the end.
I got a bad stain in my mouth when it comes to Mikenyu. Seeing him in Knights of the Zodiac, and then I saw that he was going to be Zoro, made me severely upset. In the Knights of the Zodiac, he's like, well, yeah, but guess what? I'm going to fight, and I'm going to do this. And you can try to stop me, but you won't.
Come outside.
You're cute, but you're not my type, man.
There's someone outside that wants to speak with you.
The hell is that? Is this a teen heartthrob mixed with the anime Saint Seiya? Like, what are we doing here? So I kept going off that. I just could not really get behind him being Zoro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he does have a little bit of the look. He does have a little bit of the look, but when it comes to the deep voice of Zoro and the charisma behind Zoro and the intimidation factor behind Zoro, it's not there. At least not yet. It's not there yet. And even at the end, when I started really getting involved with the other characters and feeling the other characters, I still didn't really feel Zoro that much, and I still don't. Now, when it got to the part where they all put their legs on the barrel and they all said that their goals and dreams, that really made me smile so big because it just mirrored the anime so well, and it just made me feel like, okay, all right, I see why Eiichiro Oda was very hell-bent on not only being behind this, obviously because he created One Piece, so he has to be behind this, but there are multiple reshoots and he was happy with it because, I mean, it looks good. He even said that the Iñaki Godoy, the Luffy, that's who he envisions when he pictures Luffy, a live-action Luffy, and that's a major compliment. I have to trust that, like, he knows, obviously he knows exactly what he's talking about because he created this, but I have to trust in that and trust in the decision to pick this kid, so that's why I have to give it a chance, you know, and I cannot wait to see what he does. Maybe rewatching it in Japanese, because of course I'm gonna rewatch this. I'm gonna rewatch it again in English, probably, and I'm gonna rewatch it in Japanese several times because the actual Japanese voice actors are doing it, obviously, and that's who we love. That's who we really love, is the Japanese voice actors for all of our Straw Hat crew, okay? Or everybody. Maybe when I rewatch it in Japanese from start to finish, it'll hit me a little better or a little bit more. Who knows? We got to Arlong Park, and yeah, bro, it was a wrap. That the whole Cocoa Village and Nami coming back and telling them that, and telling her sister that, look, like, I did this because I made a deal with Arlong. It's just crazy. It's crazy that even in the anime, you know, when Nami leaves and they're like, oh, well, no, that's not Nami. She's part of our crew. Like, it don't matter. She must be in trouble. It's just like the trust that everybody has for each other in the anime. It's like, Luffy's got us. He'll be fine. We'll do this. We'll get this done. And they started to portray that in the anime already. And then there's certain shot-for-shot things for panels in the manga and the anime with, like, Sanji smoking and Zoro being there and Usopp being there and everybody being there and them following Luffy and listening to Luffy's orders. And just when Luffy gets serious and they all get serious too, that really hit me. Like, it gave me chills because it's like, okay, all right, we're diving more into how One Piece actually is. Well, I'm not thrilled that they introduced Garp so early as his grandfather, because that kind of takes away from it later on when the rest of the crew is there and they're like, what? It's your grandfather? What is this? Yeah, it kind of takes away from a little story element later on. So I'm curious to see how the story unfolds now, to see, now that I know that they're gonna be mix and matching things together and bringing other storylines with other storylines. I just hope that when we get to certain things like Arabasta and meeting Doctorine and Chopper, I hope that things go pretty picturesque with the anime, but at the same time, based off how this first season was, we already know they're gonna kind of go a little bit off the rails. All in all, pretty decent series. I am very impressed, and I cannot wait to rewatch it in Japanese. And maybe I might have different opinions. Who knows? I might do another video on it based off the watch in Japanese. Thank you guys for watching this video and sticking through this long video with me. I know it's longer than my typical videos, but when it comes to like One Piece, Transformers, anything anime related, Star Wars, Dragon Ball Z obviously is more anime, but specifics, Demon Slayer, it's gonna be like a montage and a monologue, bro. I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's just, I'm very passionate about these things, and we've been waiting for this series to come out, and yeah, So I thank you so much for your support and for sitting through this video if you watched through the whole thing. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can get a notification anytime there's a new video. Thanks again for watching, guys. Until the next one.